Hey, am I live? Am I live? I think I am live. Let me double check here. Um, let's see. Yes, I think I'm live. Okay. How's everyone doing today? It's Wednesday again. I say hi when you come in. It's going to be a bit of a different one today. It just, how can it not be different? Sort of considering everything that's been going on. I wasn't sure whether to do it, but I thought let's go for it. Let's go for it because there are things to be learned and just sort of share some thoughts um, that's been happening. When I put up the post on Monday that I have been crying. I've been crying a lot, sort of for the last few weeks. I think this has probably been the mass outrage that I've really registered. I don't know whether it's because we have been stuck in lockdown for a while as well, and just everything just sort of coming together. This year has just been full of nasty surprises, and maybe that's why. And now this is a financial page. I talk about money and budgeting, and there sure are lessons to be learned. But how do I put this? Um, Now I am African, completely African. Born in Nigeria, grew up in Nigeria, so I cannot even presume to know what what life has been like for my Black American brothers and sisters. I can't even speak to that. We see the films, we see the movies, we read the history books, we hear it, but I can't even presume to know what it's like to have a history of centuries of being oppressed and dominated. Which is why I was listening to something yesterday, and just a really good quote that this outrage, it's not about one event, it's about a whole system, a system that is built and set up based on people having been oppressed, and a whole system sort of built on that, which impacts sort of access to education, access to jobs, access to certain types of housing. It's not just one single event. It's a systemic thing. It's not the average Joe down the road. It's not the average white guy who is probably just thinking about how to look after his kids, and is not plotting at home going, how can I make someone's life difficult. It's a systemic thing. It's a whole system, and it's the system that needs to be changed. What I can speak to is only briefly the experience of growing up in Nigeria, and even there on the continent, experiencing some of the impact of colonialism, where there was still a difference even within Africa, you know, that happening where the colonial masters were treated as better or seen as better, which is why there's still an issue with colorism and all of that. So now, in terms of how it's been handled, in terms of how it's happened, there have been, I mean, this is not the first rodeo. There have been people protesting for decades and decades. They've done the peaceful ones, which hasn't changed much. Now, would I personally go burning things, looting things? Personally, no, I'm not going to do that. At the same time, before I'm a big picture thinker. So before I condemn the people who do that, I'm more likely to look at this whole system, this whole decades, centuries of oppression that sort of gotten us to this point. So what I mean is, I can absolutely sympathize with, you know, what's it, Mary down the road, who is having her business, looted, small business owners who are going to come out of it without a business. I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's right. I can absolutely sympathize with that, and that's not what I would do. But at the same time, I can't be so quick to condemn people who are doing that. And the other thing as well, just before I go into the lessons, you know, there's a lot of information coming out that a lot of these sort of damages that are being done, videos coming out of the fact that there are people that are being planted in those places to actually escalate things and get the damage going. People are there protesting peacefully, and these people come in, who are not part of it at all, and starting out the escalation, having bricks laid around. So it's very nuanced. It's very nuanced. Um, in terms of sort of what I've been thinking and what I've been learning and sort of how to move forward, because here's the thing, we're gonna have to find a way to move forward. We can't. I can't keep crying, essentially. And here's the thing. So the coaching that I do, it's not a full-time gig, right? I still have a job that I do that I love, and I feel like it makes a difference. And I can't just decide not to show up for my job because I don't feel like it. And so if I'm not going to do that, why will I do that to myself? And so here's the first thing, is to be able to compartmentalize stuff, be able to compartmentalize things when stuff happens. And that's what I've been having to do. This is the time to deal with what's happening. This is the time for work. And I realized that it's a privilege to be able to do that, because there are people that don't get a space for that. Their whole lives is constant struggle. They don't have the break to even think about something else. So I do realize it's a privilege that I can, compartmentalize. So that's the first thing. And if there's any lesson for you that you can take from that, if you are a fellow, you know, African American, we have to, if we have to survive in the day to day, how can we compartmentalize stuff? The second thing is, if I'm not going to let someone else down, why should I let myself down? So getting into strategy mode, what can we do? What can I do that's going to align with the sort of solutions that I want to see? And a lot of people have said a lot of good things. So there has been talk about, you can use your powers when to vote in the people that are in that frame of mind of wanting things to change. So that's the first thing. Yeah, or at least that's one option in terms of putting people in power that are going to be aligned with working towards the kind of world that we want to see. Another thing I'm personally doing as well is thinking about where I spend my money, who I spend my money with, people that are not aligned with making a change. If I can avoid it, I'm not going to spend my money with them, because what I'm looking to build is build towards people that have been oppressed and marginalized for centuries and centuries. What little thing can I do to in some small way, diverting some resources to them? Now, I know that there are allies of, who are not necessarily black. I have friends that I absolutely believe are allies. I have people in my life that are, and I appreciate all of you. I would say the first thing is, getting educated on what it is the grievance is, um, because if it's something that you've not experienced, you don't even know what you're looking for. Maybe you can't even see it, and that's not because you don't want to see it, you just don't see it. So the first thing is getting educated on what it is we're talking about here. There are books to read, there are videos to listen to. Get educated on the different forms that this takes and the impacts, not just in the single event, but in the actual systems themselves that enable that sort of thing to carry on. And I see you all. I appreciate you all, especially those of you that are not silent, that are speaking up and raising awareness. That is fantastic. So I just wanted to mention that as well. So the lessons, going back to what I was saying, compartmentalizing things, getting into strategy mode. What exactly can we do to get things, going towards where we want it to go? And then finally, um, thinking about what's this thought I had in mind. This is so heavy. So when you're trying to dance around a topic and be as fair and compassionate as possible, I sort of lose my train of thoughts. I don't have any notes today. Okay. So okay. So compartmentalizing, having a strategy in place for how to get to where we want to go. And the last thing is addressing things before they escalate. you know Going back to the current events as an example, this is not the first time. This has been going on for hundreds and hundreds of years. Different strategies have been tried. People are not listening on both ends, and this is how we end up where we are. So even in our own personal lives, coming back to what this page is normally about, whether it's managing money, it's addressing things before they get out of hand. So using debt, for example, at the point where it's just starting out, looking at, okay, this is not going right, how can I fix it? And not waiting until it gets to a point where it's absolute chaos, it's mayhem, and there is no nice way of resolving it, just like we are now. We can do better in our personal lives in terms of addressing things before they get to that point. So there's me trying to interwove my thoughts on this and just some lessons I am taking from this that is helping me sort of. I don't know, I said something that Google thought I was looking for something. Maybe that is my hint to finish, but that's where I'm at. I would like to get into strategy mode and thinking in terms of action solutions, from the community, our allies, and it would be great to get to a point where this is not something to talk about anymore, but we are simply not there. We're simply not there because the people who, the very few people, because it's very few people that are actually openly going to express that they're racist. The rest of it is all built into the system that people who benefit from it may not even know that it's there until we all become educated and commit to changing it. Things are not going to change, and I don't know when. But in the meantime, we have to find a way to live and get a strategy in place and compartmentalize things, thinking about what are ways I can actually change things and working towards that while still keeping a sense of the normal and seeing the things that are good, the things that are beautiful, the things that actually work, and appreciate the support when it does come. I hope that makes some kind of sense. Clearly not going to get any awards for being a speaker, but that's just what I'm thinking. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Have a lovely evening, everyone, and speak to you in the next one. Bye.